Have you ever been hurt by someone you genuinely cared about? Not a stranger, not someone you barely knew, but someone whose name could instantly change your mood. Someone whose messages you looked forward to. Someone you trusted. Someone who mattered. Because those wounds hit differently. It's one thing when a random person disappoints you. It's another when the person you would have defended with your whole heart becomes the reason you're struggling to sleep at night. And if you've experienced that, I want you to know something. What you're feeling is normal, because healing isn't just about getting over what happened. It's about letting go of the version of the future you thought you were going to have, and that can hurt more than people realize. Sometimes the hardest part isn't losing the person. It's losing the dreams, the plans, the inside jokes, the conversations that never happened, the memories that were supposed to exist but never got the chance. It's grieving something that never fully became real, and somehow that's a very lonely kind of pain. Now, here's something nobody tells you. When someone hurts you, your brain suddenly becomes a full-time detective. You start replaying conversations, analyzing text messages, examining every detail like you're solving a crime documentary. You become convinced that if you just think about it long enough, you'll finally understand what happened. 3 months later, you're still lying in bed thinking, wait, what did they mean when they said, take care? Meanwhile, the rest of the world has moved on. Your brain has not. Because pain wants answers. But healing rarely comes from answers. It comes from acceptance. And acceptance is frustrating because we'd much rather receive a detailed PowerPoint presentation explaining exactly why someone hurt us, with charts and bullet points, in a section called "None of this was your fault." Unfortunately, life doesn't usually provide that. Sometimes people hurt us because they're hurting themselves. Sometimes they're immature. Sometimes they're confused. Sometimes they simply aren't who we thought they were. And sometimes there is no explanation that will ever feel satisfying. That's one of the hardest truths to accept. Closure doesn't always come from them. Sometimes closure comes from you deciding to stop waiting for an explanation. Now let's talk about something important. The mistake many people make after being hurt. They start blaming themselves for everything. They replay every interaction, every decision, every conversation, looking for evidence that they caused it. As if suffering wasn't already difficult enough, now they're also serving as prosecutor, judge, and jury in their own trial. Listen carefully. Just because someone hurt you doesn't automatically mean you deserved it. Just because something ended doesn't mean you failed. And just because someone couldn't see your value doesn't mean you didn't have any. Sometimes people walk away from beautiful things, not because those things weren't beautiful, but because they weren't capable of appreciating them. Think about that. A sunset doesn't become less beautiful because someone looked away. Its value never changed, only their ability to recognize it. And the same applies to you. Healing begins when you stop asking, why wasn't I enough? And start asking, why was I trying so hard to earn what should have been freely given? Because love, respect, honesty, care, those things shouldn't have to be begged for. The right people won't make you audition for a place in their lives. And here's something I wish someone had told me sooner. It's okay to walk away from places where you don't matter. It's okay to stop chasing people who only want you around when it's convenient. It's okay to stop pouring your energy into relationships where you're constantly questioning your worth. Because the truth is, if you have to convince someone to value you, they probably never truly did. And that's a painful realization, but it's also a freeing one. Sometimes we stay because we're hoping people will eventually become who we need them to be. We keep giving chances. We keep making excuses. We keep waiting for a version of them that may never arrive, not because we're weak, but because we care. The problem is that caring about someone should never require abandoning yourself. You shouldn't have to shrink your needs, lower your standards, or silence your feelings just to keep someone in your life. At some point, self-respect has to become stronger than attachment, and that's when you realize something important. Walking away isn't always giving up. Sometimes it's choosing peace. Sometimes it's choosing healing. Sometimes it's choosing yourself. And if someone can watch you walk away without trying to stop you, then maybe you've just learned exactly where you stood all along. You deserve relationships where your presence is appreciated, not merely tolerated. You deserve people who are glad you're there, people who make room for you, people who choose you without hesitation. Never be afraid to leave a place where your value is constantly questioned, because the moment you stop begging for a seat at the wrong table, you create space to find the people who were saving you a seat all along. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Okay, that sounds nice, but why do I still miss them? Good question. The answer is simple. Because you're human. You can miss someone and still know they're not good for you. You can love someone and still choose distance. You can care about someone and still recognize that they hurt you. Those things can exist at the same time. Healing isn't waking up one day and suddenly feeling nothing. Healing is slowly caring about your own peace more than your attachment to the pain. It's choosing yourself a little more each day. It's going an hour without thinking about them, then a day, then a week, then realizing one morning that they weren't the first thing on your mind anymore. And that's when you notice something beautiful. The life you thought ended didn't. It continued, you continued, stronger, wiser, more resilient than before. And one day you'll look back and realize something. The person who hurt you didn't define your story. They were only one chapter, an important chapter, a painful chapter, but not the whole book. Your story continues. New people will arrive. New memories will be made. New opportunities will appear. And most importantly, you'll become someone who knows they can survive heartbreak because you already are. So if you're healing right now, be patient with yourself. Stop rushing the process. Stop judging your progress, and stop expecting yourself to be okay overnight. Some wounds need time. Some lessons need time. Some hearts need time. And that's okay. You don't have to be fully healed today. You just have to keep moving forward. One step, one breath, one day at a time. And eventually, without even noticing, you'll become more than who you were before the pain. And that is where healing truly begins.